Shalom, Israel. Happy Sabbath. Lord's will, we'll bring y'all another good lesson this week. Informative. Picking up where we left off last week with revealing the sons of perdition. Where the Lord is revealing the sons of perdition. Alright, every day. And that's where we'll start. In 2 Thessalonians, 2nd chapter.
Alright, I do just want to check and make sure everything's functioning properly on the viewer's end. So. Yeah, it appears to be alright. Appears to be alright. Alright. Let's see. On Facebook, let's see how we're doing on Facebook. Alright. Could be good on there as well. I'm just gonna let the people know on your page. Why won't let me link to it? There we go. Alright. Alright, we good to go. You said 2 Thessalonians 2.
Mm-hmm. You can start with 1.
The book of 2 Thessalonians, chapter 2, and verse 1. Now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ, and by our gathering together unto him.
Right.
That ye be not soon shaken in mind, or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter, as from us, as that the day of Christ is at hand.
Right. It should not trouble you that we're saying that. Alright, neither by spirit, nor by word, or by letter, no matter what anybody says or does, that should not trouble you. Alright.
Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first. And that,
right.
Yeah.
And that falling away first was falling away from keeping the laws of God. Alright. And Deuteronomy 28:47 had to come to pass. All of us had to be gotten out of the land of Israel, which was not the case when Christ lived. Alright. Let's get that Deuteronomy 28:47 real quick.
Deuteronomy 28 verse 47, because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart, for the abundance of all things. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee.
Right. Until he have destroyed thee. Alright, destroyed in mind, in spirit, and all the things that just listed in verse 2. Alright, that's how we were destroyed through captivity. Alright, we lost all sense of all of that. Alright, and that refers back to Psalms 83 and verse 4. Real quick, to make Israel's remembrance cease from among men.
The book of Psalms, chapter 83.
And you can start with 3 and read 3 and 4
and verse
5.
And verse 3. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent, they are confederate against thee.
Right. And then it goes on to list the names of those nations who all came together against the Most High God and his people. The ones he gave the law to enforce it on the earth. They wanted out from under the law. Alright? And they wanted to wipe Israel from remembrance. Alright? So we never remembered who we are and remembered the responsibility to keep the charge of the Lord. Alright? And it said that the day of Christ, in verse 2 it says that the day of Christ is at hand. Alright? Let no man deceive you by any means, For that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first. All right, go ahead.
And that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition.
All right. The world has to see and know who the man of sin is. And it can't be refuted or denied, the Lord said. All right. This is where the Lord is drawing the line for all inhabitants of the earth to choose to be on the right or the left.
Who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God.
Right. Who opposeth. All right. So he is the opponent of and is against all things commanded by. All right. And exalteth himself above all that is called God. All right. That is your supremacy mindset. And it's no other race that is a supremacy behind it other than one. Alright.
Or that is worshipped. So that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God.
Right. Which is fulfilling a prophecy wrote about in Daniel. Alright. The abomination of desolation. If you want to get that, we'll get that. Alright. Setteth itself up in the temple, showing that he is God. Alright. And what else did it say? So that he as God sitteth in the temple of God. He as God, meaning he rules the earth. Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Alright, who covereth the faces of the judges thereof, and if not, then who is? Okay, so that's how he as God, ruling the earth, sitteth in the temple of God, which has always been in Jerusalem, showing himself that he is God. Alright, and they push out that false image of the beast. Alright, and you're either under that image as a Christian or following after the same type of images under what is it called? Judaism?
Judaism.
Judaism, there you go. Alright, you want to get that in Daniel, what is it, 8?
I thought it was 8, but I was looking and I didn't see it in 8. It might be 9.
Yeah, that's very possible. Also could be in 7.
Yeah, I couldn't be looking over it.
Yeah.
12, 11.
And 11?
12.
12 and 11, okay.
Chapter 12, verse 11.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So in Daniel 12 and verse 11, and from the time that the daily sacrifice shall be taken away, and the abomination that maketh desolate set up, there shall be 1,290 days.
Right. Alright. And that's during the time of the Maccabees, alright, whenever they, what's it called? They defiled and destroyed and did all kinds of abominable things in our temple from the time that Greece took over, alright, until the time where the Maccabees reclaimed and cleansed and rededicated the temple. The Feast of Dedication comes from that, alright, and that prophecy was fulfilled. It was 1,290 days exactly. Alright. But that's the first time it happened. Where he as God sits himself in the temple of God, showing that he is God. Alright.
Oh, what I was looking for in Daniel 9, because it says in Daniel 9 as well, because Daniel kind of repeats the same prophecies over and over, talking about when the Greeks would come in,
Exactly.
and then the time period from that to when the Messiah would show up.
Exactly.
And so I just want to get here in Daniel 9 as well. Starting with, I guess I'll start with 24. Right. 70 weeks are determined upon thy people and upon thy holy city to finish the transgression and to make an end of sins and to bring reconciliation for iniquity and to bring in everlasting righteousness and to seal up the vision and prophecy and to anoint the most holy. Right. So when it says 70 weeks here, it's talking about actually that'd be what 70 weeks is 490 days. It's actually talking about 490 years.
Right.
So jumping down to well, I guess I'll read 25 as well, because 26, 27 is really what I want to get to. Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem unto the Messiah, the Prince, shall be 7 weeks, and 62 weeks shall the street be built again, and the wall even in troublous times. Right. So he's giving you a straight up timeline from the time of the Persians to Christ.
Right.
All right, and the things that would be done. And after 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off, but not for himself. And the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city. And Christ, obviously, whenever he got taken, he said, "You're going to let my apostles go." Right? Because it's beneficial for one man to die for the nation. Right.
Exactly.
And shall destroy and the people of the prince shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the end thereof shall be with a flood until the end of the war. Desolations are determined. So here we get that term desolations as well, talking about when Rome would come in and destroy the city. And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. And in the midst of the week, he shall cause the sacrifice of the oblation to cease, and for the overspreading of abominations, he shall make it desolate. So here we go, the abomination of desolations as well, here in chapter 9. Because we talk about when the Greeks did it, but the Romans came also behind Christ and did it as well. That's why in Luke 21, he said, when you see the abomination and make it desolate, hey, flee to the mountains, get up out of here. Rome was about to destroy the city. Because they're doing the same things that the Greeks would do. Except they took it further.
Exactly, that's what I'm about to say. And each time, waxed weaker, but also further into the indulgences of sin with each Edomite empire, going from Greek to Rome and then Britain and America. For the overspreading of abominations, he shall make it desolate, even until the consummation, and that determined shall be poured upon the desolate. And that's what you were talking about with Deuteronomy 28, and the falling away first. Exactly. All right, and notice he referred to both of those empires as the abomination that make it desolate.
Exactly.
All right, and that is the point. That's exactly what they do. Just look at the whole entire rest of the world. They're coming together against one. All right.
So back in 2 Thessalonians 2 and verse 4, I'll read that again. Who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worship, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God.
Exactly. All right. The same that they done during the time of Greece, Rome, and America also. And Trump is steadily trying to do things to procure Israel and getting that temple and pushing Ishmael completely out. All right, trying to set it up again.
Yeah, you see that it's the Idumeans making the land desolate again.
Exactly. Once again.
Remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things?
Right. He's saying, I told you before it happened the first time, the second time, and the third.
And now ye know what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in his time.
Right. Meaning the Lord is the one in control of this all.
That's right. That's right. So, because a lot of people at that time, because even when you start to look at the Acts, the apostles asked Christ, are you going to restore Israel now?
Right, exactly.
Because you've been prophesying about how you're going to restore Israel. Are you going to do that right now?
Right, and saying that the time is at hand.
Exactly. So there was a lot of people at that time that believed Christ was coming back in that generation.
Right. They thought he was there to save them and redeem them at that time.
Exactly. And even after he died and resurrected, they thought he was coming back immediately. Right. But Paul said, okay, now you understand what's withholding. All this has got to happen first.
Exactly.
All right. Now you know and now ye know what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in his time.
Right.
For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let, until he be taken out of the way.
Right. Meaning the Lord had to let him go as far as he's allowing him to go. So he can be completely justified in rendering him his recompense.
And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming.
Right. All right. So why though? And then shall that wicked be revealed. All right. How is he being revealed? All right. Back to verse 4. Who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God. All right. Not only the churches, people reading directly out of the scriptures, they don't care about that. They're going to further on and bomb. Further on and bomb. All right.
Verse 8 again. And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming.
Right.
Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders.
Right. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan. All right, so let's get that. Revelations. We can get it first in Daniel. Hang on. We'll see where he said it. All right, and where they get their power. All right. I think it's chapter 8 and verse 24.
Daniel 8 and 24?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Look at Daniel, chapter 8 and verse 24. And his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power.
Right. His power shall be mighty. They rule the earth today with an iron fist. All right. America and Israel and Britain still in the background, still on the same team as of today. All right, but that is going to change as time goes on. All right, but still, his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power, like we just read in Thessalonians, whose coming is after the working of Satan. All right. And you finish this verse out.
And he shall destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper, and practice, and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people.
All right, destroy the mighty and the holy people. All right, he shall destroy wonderfully. All right, just think about, since America has been the world's superpower, we won't even go back. All right, all the way back to where they founded America and was building. Let's just go back to the end of World War II. What nation or what people has went all over the world, destroying everywhere they went? And it's only that team, all right, of America and Israel with Britain, because that's what it is. And Britain's gonna realize they're the third wheel real soon. All right, and read 25.
And through his policy,
Through his what?
his policy, also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand.
All right, witchcraft, by the way, shall prosper in his hand. Just like I said, after World War II ended, you started having things like the television.
Mm-hmm.
You started having all this advancement in technology.
And see, that's what I did my lesson last night about, was AI and how it's witchcraft and sorceries.
Absolutely.
But even what you just said about the television,
Right.
people don't realize the words that it is. Tell-a-vision.
Right.
They don't realize that on television you have channels and programming.
Boom. Come on now.
It's all in your face.
In your face.
But
They
yet,
get off on that.
the people have been lullabied and rocked to sleep, though.
Right. Destroyed. Till you have destroyed thee. They literally tell you, buy a television, choose your channel, watch your programming.
Mm-hmm.
And we loved it. Followed right along in the trap. Didn't even realize it was a trap. We thought it was a blessing. And don't even begin to mention when color TV started coming.
And now it's on social media where you have a YouTube channel.
Right, exactly.
And on social media they have followers. Because they worship these people.
Exactly. Just like they have a show called American Idol. Where they've literally been making your idols for like 15 to 20 years now. Alright.
And through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand. And he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many.
And by peace shall destroy many. If you ask them, it's been times of peace ever since World War II. Alright? But all they have done is, if you read the book Confessions of an Economic Hitman by John Perkins, he was the one who was going into these countries making these deals for the IMF. Alright, and whenever their leaders would not make the deal, they would first, they would use any sort of means as far as blackmail or compromising that person to force them into the deal. If that didn't work, they would get someone close to that person who was ambitious, greedy, who would kill that person. If they couldn't find somebody in his circle or in his own country to do it, they would send a jackal, a CIA assassin in there to get him. Alright, all of these are steps they would take to maintain the illusion of peace. all while they were still destroying worldwide.
Yeah. And they did this all over the world, but primarily in Latin America.
Right.
And y'all wonder why there's so many immigrants come up from there. It's because their countries are destroyed.
Right. And they've been coming up since America's been going down, destroying their countries.
Right. Because America's talking about it's the best country on earth. All the propaganda that you see about America is the best country on earth.
Yep.
Meanwhile, my country's destroyed.
Right.
So, hey, I got to leave my country and go to the best country on earth.
Yep. And they're the only country who goes to countries all over the world, destroys those countries, and allows sanctuary for that country's civilians and members. All right, anybody else would have sense enough to know that's not very smart.
Yeah. And even that, it's to a certain point where they just feel like they don't want to bring you in anymore. 'Cause that's what happened with Trump, because in his first term, he told Venezuelans, hey, this is a sanctuary country. You can come out of here because, we're toppling your regime of communism and whatnot. But here in his second term,
he said, no.
He's shipping back to, he's shipping not even to Venezuela, he's shipping to prisons in El Salvador.
In El Salvador, they reopened Guatemala and expanded it, and now they're opening a huge facility in Florida.
In Florida.
Mm-hmm. Man. Calling it something else. It's the Gate or something.
Yeah.
All right, but it's a ginormous prison for immigrants.
Yeah.
That's what they're saying. All right, like the one in El Salvador, they bought Sing Sing from that government and turned that into a immigration asylum.
Yeah.
All right, but they wrote a law yesterday that all immigrants that they've shipped anywhere fall under the same amendment as the criminals fall under slavery.
Yeah. So the 13th Amendment says that you can't have slaves unless for criminal punishment.
Exactly.
So.
And now all these people that Trump and his regime, all right, are what's it called when they're sending them away? Deporting. All right, they're deporting them to prisons to turn them into slave workers.
Yeah.
All right, and that's another big part of the story they don't give.
Yeah, and they passed. If you think it's just immigrants, they passed bills to say that American citizens,
exactly,
your citizenship could be taken away. Just because you were a citizen doesn't mean you're going to be.
Exactly, dude. They wrote a law yesterday, all right, in the Supreme Court saying that about naturalized birth.
Yes.
Reversing it.
Yep.
Also, they finally wrote a law saying that you can legally take your children out of public schools when they're teaching a program you don't agree with. But up until yesterday, that was illegal.
Yeah.
To take your children out of the public school when they're teaching them something that goes directly against what you want them to learn. They just wrote that into law yesterday, and I'm sure there's all kind of loopholes and ways that the government is going to take that right back. All right.
Well, yeah, as far as they're really just picking and choosing what they want to apply to them and what they want to change and who they want it to apply to.
Exactly.
So all that is going to be used for people who dissent, because we've seen that with the Mahmoud Khalil case, where they just arrested him because he was teaching against, or not even teaching, he was protesting against the state of Israel.
Right.
So they just arrested him because of that.
Right.
And you're going to see that they're trying to establish precedents that, hey, if you don't fall in line with what we want you to teach or what we want you to do, then we're going to take away your citizenship and we're going to ship you out of here.
Right. And usually that's going to be to a prison to be a slave worker.
Yeah.
Shipping you out of America anymore is not just to a different country. That's to a slave prison.
Yeah.
All right. And did you finish that verse out?
No. And through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand.
Right. He shall be broken without hand. All right. And through his policy, I want to get that in Maccabees. All right. When it's talking about Rome and how they was going around taking over.
Oh, was that First Maccabees 8 talking about Rome?
I think so. Is it? Yes, sir. First Maccabees 8 and 4.
Let's start with verse 4.
Yeah.
First Maccabees 8 and verse 4. And that by their policy and patience they had conquered all that place, though it were very far from them. And the kings also that came against them from the uttermost part of the earth, till they had discomfited them and given them a great overthrow, so that the rest did give them tribute every year.
Right. All right. It's describing how Rome took over the planet from Greece. All right. While the last few of their kings was dying off and warring against one another. All right. And the same. All right. Through Britain and the United Kingdom, what they called Great Britain, they seen this, they studied this, they enforced it through monarchy. All right. But see, America, they said we can't be a monarchy because then you know exactly who's ruling and it's easy to trace it back to the top. So now we have to be wise about this and more subtle about our monarchy. Alright? But they use the exact same doctrine as Rome through their policy and patience to conquer all that place. Alright? And all that place, like it says right here, and the kings also that came against them from the utmost part of the earth. Just like the whore that sitteth on many waters today. Alright, not only did they come and bully you out of your natural resources, they then try to enforce their policy on you and your land. Alright, and that's what's turned most of the world against them. Alright, it'd be one thing for them to just rob them, but it's another for you to rob me and then try to tell me how to think. That's their pride that's coming, that has exalted them above all that is called God.
Yeah. So, if you don't mind, I want to jump down to verse 14, because it's talking about what you just talked about as far as like not being a monarchy.
Right.
In verse 14, yet for all this, none of them wore a crown or was clothed in purple to be magnified thereby.
There you go.
Moreover, how they had made for themselves a senate house, wherein 320 men sat in council daily, consulting always for the people, to the end that they might be well ordered.
There you go.
Right. So in these days we have a Senate and a House of Representatives. Right. But
exactly.
it's the same system.
Same system.
They just expanded it a little bit.
Exactly. Made the government larger.
Yep. And verse 16 as well. And that they committed their government to one man every year, who ruled over their country, and that all were obedient to that one, and that there was neither envy nor emulation among them. And see, that's where America is going off as far as like the pride and the envy, the emulation.
Exactly.
That's taken over them.
Exactly.
Right. But even in Rome at this time,
right,
they had not let their pride get the best of them. That's why they were still a powerful nation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And same with America, especially now that you see it with Israel, and it's splitting Trump, but the war hawks on each side are definitely falling behind him, Democratic or Republic, and the same thing that they tried to do with him last year and year before last, as bringing the court case against him and all that kind of stuff. That's a direct playbook of how they did Nixon, got him out of office.
Yep.
All right, but it didn't work with Trump. All right, and it's constantly making sides in America. It's making the House divided. All right, just on different issues, just on different things. Now let's see. All right, so now we see how it spoke about it in Daniel. All right, and now we just read about it, how Rome was doing it and did it. All right, and we know through history, if you've done any kind of studying, you know that's exactly the playbook America took.
Greece and Rome.
Greece and Rome.
Even with the two parties you just mentioned.
Right.
The Democratic Party, which democracy came from Greece.
Exactly.
And the Republican, right? That's the Roman Republic.
Exactly. Even the two head, that's why the Lord said. And it's got two horns.
That's right.
Alright. But it's still the same goat. It's all the same goat. Alright, so back in 2 Thessalonians.
2 and verse 9.
Yes, sir.
Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders.
Right. Alright, so let's go to Revelation.
2 and 9.
Yep, and 3 and 9, and then 13.
Alright. Revelation 2 and verse 9. I know thy works, and tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich.
Alright, talking to the real Jews. He knows how much we have to bust our ass. Alright. And I know thy tribulation, all the hell we go through, just trying to go to and from our plantations. Alright. And poverty, no matter how much how much we don't miss work. We have perfect attendance. We're there all the time, slaving away. We're still poor. We have to turn around and give everything that we've made right back to the same oppressor. All right.
But thou art rich.
But you're the rich one. All right, why? Because the Bible was given unto us. All right, Romans 3:3. All right, tells you what advantage in much every way, because then we're given the oracles of God. All right.
And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan.
Right. And the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan, whose coming is after the workings of Satan. Alright. Now 3:9.
Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee.
Right. Alright. There, the Lord saying He's going to have the real Israelites and the ones that's been claiming it in front of the entire world. He's going to make them come and worship before your feet. To know they have to admit their lie and come kiss your feet to hope you don't give them the punishment they deserve. Alright. And now we'll go once again. Those who are of the synagogue of Satan, whose coming is after the working of Satan. Alright.
You say Revelation 13?
Yeah, and you can read verse 4.
Book of Revelation, chapter 13 and verse 4. And they worship the dragon, which gave power unto the beast.
There you go. That's plain and simple. Alright. They worship the dragon. Alright. Which gave power unto the beast. And they worship the beast. Did you read that part?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
And they worship the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him?
Alright, what did it say in Thessalonians? It said, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all.
It's called God.
Right.
Or that is worshipped.
Or that is worship. So that he, as God, sits in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. So what did it say that they worship? They worship the beast.
Yeah.
First, they worship the dragon in secret. Yeah. They worship the beast out in the open, saying, who is like unto the beast? Who is like this great Jesus the Christ, with his long hair and his little beard?
And his blue eyes.
Right.
His pasty white skin.
The Christianity. Alright, nothing is better. Alright, and who is able to make war with him? Look at this Christian nation of America. They've conquered the entire earth and got everyone in subjected silence. Just like now, all these other people who see the clear evil that's happening, led and perpetrated by Israel, but are silent on the matter because they don't want to lose the life that they have got, which is all that is, and goes back to. Alright, like Christ said, he who findeth his life shall lose it, and he that loseth it for me shall find it. Alright.
And there was given unto him a mouth, speaking great things and blasphemies. And power was given unto him to continue 42 months.
Right. 42 months. Alright, and that goes into a deeper prophecy, break that down into years and things.
Yeah, 3.5 years, 350 years.
Right, exactly.
And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven.
Right. Alright, which is exactly what he's done. And in Thessalonians, in verse 4,
it's the same thing.
Alright, it's saying the exact same thing. It's just saying it in a different way. Who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he as God sits in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. Alright, he's trying to convince the world and also himself that he is God. There's no power above him. Alright, because he gets his from the dragon. Alright, that's the pride, knowing that the dragon has a creator and not thinking upon it. That is the ignorance that goes along with the pride one takes on.
Yeah. So yeah, I was talking about this last night a little bit because, like I said, I was talking about more of the technology and things like that, AI and whatnot, the witchcraft.
Mm-hmm.
But what they don't realize, because even the spiritual demon Satan himself has them deceived,
Exactly.
has them tricked, because Satan works for God.
Exactly.
So he's just trying to pull as many souls down with him as he can.
Exactly. He don't want to burn alone.
Satan himself does not even think that he can overcome the Most High.
He knows he can't.
Exactly. It's just the wicked people here on earth that think that they can do something against God.
Exactly. It's the deceivable seed.
That's right.
That's all that is. You've been tricked by the one you serve. All right, which lets you know, or it should, that you've always worked on the side of evil. If the one that you're worshiping is tricking you, that shouldn't be the one you're worshiping. That's crazy. But anyway. Alright. And let's see, you can read verse 7 as well, and then jump to verse 12.
Revelation 13 verse 7. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them, and power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations.
Alright, which has led to the point that we're at today. Alright, and it was given unto him to make war with the saints. Alright, Christopher Columbus, and starting this last empire, they first had to overcome all the saints ruling all over. All Israel that was ruling wherever Israel was and ruling. Alright, which is exactly what they did. Why? Because we was not doing it in righteousness. We did not serve the Lord with joyfulness and gladness of heart. We were serving an abundance of false idols.
Right.
So he allowed them to come and overcome us.
Yeah, so I do just want to point out, because it used the word saints here in Revelation 13, and as you just said, which is absolutely correct, that we weren't in righteousness. So people they have a disconnect because they think saints is who the Catholic Church names to be a saint.
Right.
In Psalms 148 and verse 14, this will tell you who the saints are.
Every time.
Psalm 148 verse 14. He also exalted the horn of his people,
Right.
the praise of all his saints, even of the children of Israel. Of people near unto him, praise ye the Lord. Right? So in our fullness, the saints are supposed to be righteous.
Exactly.
But the children of Israel in general are the saints. Whenever the Bible, even if they're not in righteousness, that's still the people of the Most High. That's still the saints.
That's still his saint.
Exactly. And as you said, we failed to keep his commandments. Deuteronomy 28 come against us.
Right.
Starting with the fall of Constantinople in 1453. And then after that, you had the Inquisitions throughout Europe. And then, of course, they conquered the West and parts of Africa as well, where we were.
Right. It's funny that they claim 1452 as the birth of the Renaissance.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The year before they overthrew Constantinople.
Yeah. So you said jump down to verse 11? Or?
Yeah.
Okay. And I beheld another beast coming out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon.
All right, the two horns like a lamb is the Democratic and Republican. And it's also Christian and a Jew. Alright, but they spake as a dragon, which is breathing their fire on you. And it's destruction, war, hell, death. Alright.
Verse 12. And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed.
Right. Alright, to worship that first beast, being Rome.
That's right.
Alright, and they took Caesar Borgia. Leonardo da Vinci painted him as the Christ. Alright. And therefore, that's where you get the image of the beast that most follow after today. Alright, and he exercises all the power of the first beast before him. Alright, so they went through and studied and figured out all the power and how to exercise in it and enforce it. Alright? And let's say what it says there. And causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. Alright? That's using their policy to go through and enforce however they want you to think. That's religion. Alright? To worship, whose deadly wound was healed. Alright?
And he doeth great wonders, so that he makes fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men.
Right, and that was the atomic bombs that they dropped at the end of World War II.
Yep.
And you notice nothing about it goes with the rest of the war that they claimed was going on against the Nazis. But funny how they dropped the 2 nukes that they figured out how to make on Japan.
Yep.
See how that works?
And it's because people think about dropping the bomb and then like it hitting the ground and then detonating, but that's not how they did it. They detonated it before it hit the ground.
Hit the ground, right?
So that it was literally the fulfillment of this prophecy about fire coming down on earth in the sight of men.
Right.
It was about eye level when they detonated it.
Right, exactly. And it
Yep.
blew them back.
Verse 14, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles, which he had power to do in the sight of the beast.
Right. And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth. Alright, and not just that, but all the technology and the ways they've advanced things and given prosthetic legs and arms and all these kind of things.
Yeah.
They're lying wonders.
And the thing about this this word miracle here, they got a term called miracle of modern science, the miracle of medicine.
Miracle, yep.
Yeah, and I was just watching something a while ago where an actor named Joel McHale, he was talking about a hair transplant that he got, and he's like, oh, it's a miracle.
Exactly. Exactly, dude. Tory Lanez was on the Breakfast Club, said the exact same verbiage way before he went to prison.
Yeah.
And with his hair transplant, calling it a miracle.
So like that tells you right there.
His daddy's a preacher in Canada.
Man. So that tells you that these people know about the fulfillment of this prophecy.
Exactly.
That this technology that they're making, that's what this is talking about when it says miracles.
Right. And how they're trying to replace the Most High with science.
Exactly.
Right.
And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live.
Right, that they should make an image to that beast. All right, and he had power to do it in the sight of the beast. All right, and back in verse 4, all right, which gave power unto the beast. And they worshiped the beast, saying, who is likened to the beast, and who is able to make war with him. All right, so the image of that beast there is Edom. All right, Ecclesiastes 3:18. All right, that they shall see that the estate of men is wild beasts. All right, let's get that real quick. And I also got a precept. It's Rock 12:13 for you. And it's that, boy, it's a banger. It is a banger.
In Ecclesiastes 3 and verse 18, and I said in my heart concerning the estate of the sons of men, that God might manifest them, and that they might see that they themselves are beasts.
Right. And the way that they just follow after the lust of their eyes and the wants of their flesh. They'll kill, maim, rape, rob, do whatever it takes to satisfy their fleshly lusts. That is an animal. Alright. And then Sirach 12 and verse 13. But you can start in 12 and 10, so you get the context.
Yeah, about the enemy.
Yeah.
In Sirach, the book of Ecclesiasticus, in the Apocrypha, chapter 12 and verse 10. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou had wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust hath not been altogether wiped away.
Right, you're going to see right through his lies every time and know when he's trying to, perpetuate a lie, when he's trying to control the narrative in whatever way, shape, form that may come. All right, you're going to see straight through it.
Set him not by thee, lest when he hath overcome thee, lest when he hath overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place. Neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat, and thou at the last remember my words and be pricked therewith.
Right.
That's what you was talking about what they do all across the world with the jackals and the menace by them that can
and
be
how
corrupted.
They overthrow leaders.
Yeah. Who will pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent?
With a what?
Serpent.
What did he just refer to our enemy as?
A serpent.
Okay.
Or any such as come nigh wild beasts.
Right. Who's going to feel sorry for a snake charmer? when that serpent bites him. No one who is going to feel sorry for anyone who tries to get wild animals to do tricks like Siegfried and Roy. Who feels sorry for them? Not anybody with good sense. Alright? So, and also here's your precept for the Lord letting you know what he refers to our enemy as. Alright? What creatures? So here's your precept, those who's paying attention, for Genesis chapter 3. The serpent. Alright? And also a wild beast. Okay? Because whenever he is a wild beast, but he is a subtle beast, that whenever you get too nigh him becomes a subtle serpent.
Yeah. Psalms 58 talking about, you know, the wicked being serpents. You also got Psalm 64 that say that thought is very deep.
Exactly.
Like what you said, they're wild, but they're deep about it.
Exactly. They are a subtle, very subtle beast. Where it's like what they call, and that's what they're saying about America right now. As World War III is kicking off in parts of the world, is it's like the frog getting boiled in the water.
Yeah.
When you don't know it until it's too late. Alright, that's how they do it. You can't put a frog, if you got a boiling pot of water, you can't just dump a frog in it and he's going to hop right out. But if you raise the temperature slowly, he will cook and never know he's cooking. And that's exactly how Edom gets down. They cook us slowly. They lull us to sleep to give us a little, what was it called? NyQuil cyanide. Alright. And let's see. Where did you get to in 13?
I got to 14.
Alright. Yeah, he make a fire to come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. And that's also how he has ruled these last 80 years now through mutually assured destruction.
That's right.
Alright. Because they thought it was a good idea to go around selling these nukes after they proved that they could make them.
And you even look at like who is mutually assured in the destruction. The two main parties were Russia and America, right?
Exactly.
Esau East and Esau West.
Exactly. That's it.
Oh man.
And that's why they're throwing such a fit about Iran. They do not want them to get the nukes, but they're not mentioning the fact that Israel already has nukes.
Mm-hmm.
They will not sign an agreement with anybody in the agreement that they make every other people sign, nor will they allow any sort of inspections in Israel that they make every other nation, they enforce them to allow inspections to see if you're working on a nuclear weapon, but not Israel, who has nuclear weapons. Alright, and I found out this week also, that's one thing JFK was adamant about, not letting them anywhere near the scientists that they stole the plans from.
Yeah.
And not long after he was dead.
Yeah, JFK was real adamant about a lot of things as far as like not being a part of these wars that they want to be a part in.
Right. He wasn't a clear-cut puppet for Israel to go along, to get along. And not just with Israel, also the Federal Reserve, also the intelligence arms, and they all came, and also the mob, when his daddy was in the mob.
Yeah, he was too much of a free thinker.
Exactly. He was too uncontrollable once he had got in the spot that they put him in. That's why Malcolm X said it was the chickens coming home to roost. Because now y'all finally got a leader who didn't go along with what you said. He pulled a Castro on America. He allowed them to put him in the spot and then said, nope, you're out. And they couldn't kill Castro. He's an Israelite.
Yeah, the Lord had preserved him for whatever reason.
But they sure killed Kennedy quickly.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So verse 15, Revelation 13:15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed.
Right. All right. He had power to give life unto the image of the beast. All right. Through his media. All right. Through his plays. Because almost every church does a Christmas play. Or somebody's pretending to be Christ. All right, and in all forms, every chance they get, they will have a show of Edom as all the faces. All right, like it says in Job 9:24, he covered the faces of the judges thereof. And know ye not that the saints shall judge the earth. In 1 Corinthians 6. All right, that's the judges of the faces. All right, they say that they're everyone, from the good throughout history to the bad throughout history, the angels, God, Christ, all nations. They claim to be the first Egyptians. They claim to be everyone always. All right, which is an impossibility. Nothing about that is logical whatsoever.
It doesn't make
But
any sense.
everyone just goes with it. Alright, and that anyone who would not worship the image of the beast, which is part of their colonialization going through, part of their policies they've enacted on every land, starting with the one they came and took first. Alright, ensuring that you're worshiping them. Alright, they'll say it's an image of someone who ain't them. This is Jesus. But it's really one of their family members. Alright. It's all to put that image in your mind that you must worship something that is in, what's it called? Reflection to Edom. You must worship Edom. Point blank, period.
And when we go out to the streets and we tell people about this, they say, oh, it doesn't matter. Well, if it doesn't matter, then why did they change it?
Right. If it did not matter,
then they would have had the Middle Age depiction of Christ. During the Middle Ages, he was always depicted as a dark-skinned man.
Exactly.
Oftentimes with woolly hair. Sometimes they have braids or whatever. Most of the time, it was an afro on a dark man.
Right.
That would have been the image that they used over here. Say, hey, this is Jesus, convert to our religion or whatever.
Right.
But the fact that it does matter is why they changed it.
Exactly.
Image matters.
Right. 100,000%.
Self-esteem in a person matters.
Matters. Alright, to know what you worship and to know what it looks like is one of the most utmost importances of life. Alright, and that's why they've destroyed you into believing that it doesn't matter. Alright? Because that's got you defending your enemy and oppressor. When one of your brethren are coming to tell you, you know you're defending your enemy and oppressor. But you're so destroyed you don't even get it. And that's mission accomplished for Edom.
Destroyed the mind, as we read in Deuteronomy 28.
Right.
And he took the yoke of iron off the neck when the mind was destroyed.
Exactly.
In verse 16.
Yeah.
And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads.
Alright, and for the mark we'll get Job 10:14.
Yeah, I like Job 10:14.
What mark is this referring to? What mark?
In the book of Job 10 and verse 14.
Yes, sir.
If I sin, then thou markest me, and thou wilt not acquit me from mine iniquity.
Right. If I sin, then thou markest me. So that is the mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Your right hand is your actions. They get you to sin in your actions or get your mentality around the actions of sin. Alright? And they make sure that economically you're destroyed if you're not willing to follow after them in their sin.
So yeah, I got another one here for Mark. In Psalms 130.
Yeah, I need something in Psalms.
Psalms 130. Psalms 130 and verse 3. If thou, Lord, should mark iniquities,
Right.
O Lord, who shall stand?
No one.
So, hey, if the Lord puts that mark on you,
Right. And he definitely is marking everyone.
that's right.
Whether either righteousness or sin.
Yeah, so there's a doctrine that the mark of the beast is, a chip, right? Which, first of all, a mark is external. A
Right.
mark is not something that's internal.
Exactly.
But
That's the destroyed.
Yeah,
right
so
there.
if it's a physical thing, then it would have to be external, not internal. But anyway, a
Now you're
mark.
talking semantics.
Yeah, exactly. A
Bunch
mark.
of cows.
A mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, right? So people think this is a new thing.
No.
When the scriptures say there's no new thing under the sun.
Right. No new thing under the sun.
So when you read Ezekiel 9,
That's what I was about to say.
it talks about marking the people that God's going to destroy and the people that He's going to deliver.
Right.
In Ezekiel 9 and verse 4. Now this is actually the mark of God.
Right.
In Ezekiel 9 and 4. But it's the same concept. And the Lord said unto him, Go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of them, or excuse me, on the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof.
Right. All
And-
the people
yeah.
who hate to see what is happening in the land of Israel, and also to the people.
Right. And verse 5, and to the others he said in my hearing, Go ye after him through the city and smite. Let not your eyes spare, nor have ye pity.
Right.
So in Revelation it says the seal of God and the mark of the beast. But it's the
Right.
same concept.
Exactly.
God is sealing and marking those that He's going to deliver and those that He's going to destroy.
Exactly.
It's always been that way. Through
Always.
every time period of judgment. It's always been that way.
Yep.
The Revelation is talking about the same thing.
It was
And-
like that before he destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. It was like that
Exactly.
before the flood with
Exactly.
Noah and his family. It's always been that.
In Revelation 13 and 16. And He causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And that no man might buy or sell, save that he had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name.
Right.
And I just want to point this out as well, because they always say, RFID chip, the mark
Yeah.
in the hand or whatever. But it also said that the name of the beast or the number of his name.
Exactly.
You could also buy or sell if you had those things. So how does that apply if you're going to buy like a bag of almonds or a Snickers bar at the store?
Right.
Like,
It
that's
can't.
not what this is talking about.
No.
Alright,
Not at all.
well, if you got a tattoo that says 666, now you can buy stuff. No,
Right.
that's
No.
that's ridiculous.
Or scan your chip
Yeah,
when you
yes.
enter the door.
Right, exactly. Or the name of the beast. Hey, I got a tattoo that says Esau. Can I get it?
Right.
Like, come on now. That's
Right.
stupid. That's silly.
Right.
Verse 18. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man.
Right.
And his number is 666.
Right.
666. All right. 6 seal, 6 vial, 6 trump.
Right.
Um.
Or flesh in your mind, flesh in your action,
Yeah.
flesh in your thoughts or heart.
Yes, exactly. But notice here, because it said that no man in verse 17, that no man might
Right.
buy or sell. And in verse 18 it says, for it is the number of a man.
Of a man.
And even Israelites will break this down to verse 18 and say, oh, this man is talking about the Edomite man in general, right? The man of Esau. It's not one individual man. So then how in verse 17 you're going to say this is individual men
Right.
might buy or sell? That's
You
not what
can't.
it's talking about. It's
Not at
saying no race of man might
Right.
buy or sell.
Exactly.
Just like they try to put the sanctions on Iran. They put the
Yep.
sanctions on Russia. If you don't
Yep.
follow American policy,
That's
we
it.
go back to that policy.
Right. 7 Muslim countries,
Mhm.
like you're talking about.
Yeah, so if you don't follow the policy, the craft of America that they have pushed and
Right.
destroyed many with,
Right.
then
Many through
you
peace.
can't buy or sell. You
Right.
can't trade. You can't trade with nobody.
Right. They put sanctions on you. Like that's how Iran realized they wasn't gonna get no help, so they become self-sufficient.
That's right.
All right, and they were still being in compliance with them, all the way to they're just enriching the uranium to a certain percent, but not even the percent that it takes to make a nuke.
Exactly.
When the only thing that they should learn from this situation over the past few weeks is that they would be ignorant not to get a nuke now.
Yeah.
Because that's the only people Israel and America don't mess with.
Man,
People that's got nukes.
You just hit the nail on the head, because I was thinking about this the whole week. This is what the spirit was telling me, as far as like first of all, if they really wanted to get a nuke, they would just talk to China or Russia, and
Exactly.
they would give them nukes.
And Putin has said if there's even a threat of nuclear, we're stepping in for Iran with our nukes.
Right, exactly. So this whole idea of just like bombing them to nothing, right,
Right.
making them desolate,
Right.
is just going to make them want to go and get a nuke now.
That's what everybody's been saying, trying to explain to the pride and arrogant devil that is calling himself Israeli today, that only thing you're doing is making these people want to get something to destroy you. Not you're threatening that they're working on it, so that's why we got to go attack them. But the attacks themselves is what's going to be the foil to make them do what you've been lying about. Alright, and that's the perfect irony. That's the perfect work of the Lord, that you reap what you sow.
That's right.
Same with the 9/11 lie and terrorist attacks. Alright? You lied on this people, but you're going to make them become the exact thing you lied on them for. Alright, and that's why it says it's not a good practice to make any manner of lie in Sirach. Alright? The custom thereof is not a good thing. Alright. So let's see here.
I don't think we finished out 2 Thessalonians 2. Or
Right.
at least we didn't go down too far.
Right, we gotta finish that out. But this is showing you exactly who the sons of perdition are. And those out here, like Mark Levin, who has a show on Fox, talking about he hates the word ceasefire. Alright, these people are showing you clearly that they are sons of perdition. That they're in a full agreement with killing others, aka in full agreement with death itself.
Yeah, that's what perdition means: destruction.
Exactly.
And death.
And being married there too.
In 2 Thessalonians 2, I'll pick up with verse 9 because that's where we had left off. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, and with all power and signs and lying wonders.
And we just took you down through there, alright, through the Old Testament, the Apocrypha, and the last book of the Bible, alright, showing you they've always come after the working of Satan.
And with all deceivableness of unrighteousness.
Right, in every way that they could lie to you about what righteousness actually is. Alright? And with all deceivableness of unrighteousness, in any and every way that they could lie on and blasphemy, lie on the Lord, His people, His laws, and also, and any ways that they could lie you into doing more unrighteousness. Alright?
There's that deceivable seed.
Exactly.
And with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved.
Right. You never loved the truth. And what is the truth? Alright? We get that in Psalms.
Book of Psalms.
119, 142.
Yes, sir. The book of Psalms, chapter 119 and verse 142. Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth.
Right. And thy law is the truth. Alright, and it said they did what now?
And with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they received not the love of the truth.
Right. They did not love the law. They always hated the law.
If I may, I want to get another precept on truth. John 17 and 17.
Yes, sir.
John 17 and verse 17. Sanctify them through thy truth. Thy word is truth. And the context of this chapter, Christ is praying to the Most High.
Exactly.
So he's saying, your word, the word of God, that's the truth. And these people hate the word of God.
Right.
The people who want to buy into America's lies,
right,
they hate the word of God.
Exactly. And who want to just follow after the lust of their own flesh. Alright, do what they want to do, say what they want to say, be where they want to be, and not do as thus saith the Lord, and what's commanded of us to do. To practice abstinence. Alright? Not fully go after your indulgences. And, what's it called? Excess.
And with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they received not the love of the truth, that they might be saved.
Right.
They're really standing in their own way
exactly.
to salvation.
Right.
And Paul just said, hey, look, they're just going to have to perish.
Right. That's why it's called them sons of perdition.
That's right.
Who knows that they've made an agreement to die.
That's right.
Alright, I was also going to get in 2 Esdras 9, talking about those who abhorred the law.
Yes, while they had liberty.
Yep.
Yeah. In 2 Esdras, chapter 9, and verse...
Start with 9.
Start with 9? Okay.
Yeah.
Then shall they be in pitiful case, which now have abused my ways. And they that have cast them away despitefully shall dwell in torments.
Right.
For such as in their life have received benefits and have not known me.
Right. And that goes into like in Job where it's talking about how come the wicked prosper, but yet the righteous suffer and all these different things. All right, he's saying they've received them benefits, but have not known me at all.
And they that have loathed my law, while they had yet liberty, and when as yet place of repentance was open unto them, understood not, but despised it.
Right. All right. And is this not the place where they say the Statue of Liberty? This is supposed to be the beacon of freedom in the world. But yet, where the Lord's given them a place that they're actually ruling. And y'all are actually teaching out of my Bible. For y'all to actually learn it a little bit and just do what I say so you don't have to die. No, they don't want to hear that. They hate that thing with a much despiteful hatred. Alright, like it says in Ezekiel 35 and 5 and 36 and 5. Alright, that perpetual hatred. And they cast it away despitefully. Alright.
The same must know it after death by pain.
Right. The same must know it after death by pain. That lets you know death is not the end of feeling things whatsoever. Or you will not feel pain after you die.
As Christ said, hey, fear not those that can destroy the body,
Right.
but the Lord who can destroy
Both
the body and soul.
Straight up. The one who holds all the true cards and power. That even Satan knows. Like it says, even the devils know and do tremble.
That's right.
Alright, verse 11.
Yes. In 2 Thessalonians 2 and verse 11. And for this cause God shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie.
Right. So send them a strong delusion. Alright, and that's what they're caught up in now today. Alright.
That they all might be damned, who believed not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness.
Right. They took pleasure in unrighteousness. Alright, they believed not the truth. Alright, let's get that in Sirach 32:24. How do you show you believe? Not say you believe. How do you show you believe? Like it talks about in James chapter 2.
The book of Ecclesiasticus, also known as the book of Sirach and the Apocrypha, chapter 32 and verse 24. He that believeth in the Lord, he that believeth in the Lord taketh heed to the commandment, and he that trusted in him shall fare never the worse.
Right. Alright. So how you believe in the Lord is to take heed to the commandment. Alright. We just read how they loathe his law. Alright, and that they all might be damned who believe not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. Alright, they didn't believe in him, they didn't take heed to the commandment, but they loved the iniquity they abounded in. Whatever that may be.
Yeah.
Alright.
You want 13 as well?
Let's see. Yeah, we can get that for us.
But we are bound to give thanks always to God for you, brethren, beloved of the Lord, because God hath from the beginning chosen you to salvation, through sanctification of the Spirit and belief of the truth.
Right. Through sanctification of the Spirit. Let's get that in Ephesians 5:26. And we just read what belief of the truth is. Alright, to take heed to the commandment.
That's right.
This is how you make your calling and election sure.
That's right.
Or one way to further make your calling and election sure is through the sanctification of the Spirit in Ephesians 5:26.
The book of Ephesians, chapter 5 and verse 26, that he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word.
Right. To sanctify, make it special and holy, and clean it from all things that defiled it with the washing of the water by the word. Relearning the Bible the correct way. and actually living it to make yourself sanctified and holy. Alright? And belief of the truth.
That's right.
To take heed to the commandment. Relearn the Bible and keep commandments. Alright? Let's see. Therefore, brethren, stand fast. Okay. Now we can go to, let's see, we can hit part of 17. Revelation 17.
Okay.
And that's about all I got for today. And finish this lesson. We'll go to Revelation 17. Alright, and we know we've been talking about America and Israel, but Edom, that is the ruling board, as we might say. The further up you go, you'll get to Edom. They ain't talking about countries no more. They ain't talking about lands, nothing like that. They're talking about families, and above them is Satan, and Satan answers to the Most High. Period. Alright.
Revelation 17, and what verse?
You can start with 1.
Revelation 17, verse 1. And there came one of the 7 angels, which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters.
Right, that sitteth upon many waters. And all you have to do to see this verse in real life, get the image of this verse, is look up American military bases across the world. Alright, and you'll see it. It's almost 900 in every nook and cranny, little corner of the earth.
Yep.
Alright? That is the whore that sitteth upon many waters. Alright, and tries to rule every ocean and every continent. Alright?
With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication.
Alright, they made deals with her. Not only did they make deals with her, they committed fornication. Alright, which effed over their own people. The leaders of these countries have made deals with that whore to mess over their own people, to take wealth and wealth from resources from the people of the land the resources come from. Alright, to siphon and to funnel it, to give it directly to the whore. Alright.
And the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication.
Right. What wine is that? That's Micah, I believe, 2 and 7. It could be Malachi. Micah 2 and 7. The priest's lips should keep knowledge. Which one says it's 2 and 11? Micah 2 and 11. Yes, sir. Micah 2 and 11. Yes, sir.
The book of Micah, chapter 2 and verse 11. If a man walking in the spirit and falsehood do lie, saying, I will prophesy unto thee of wine and of strong drink, he shall even be the prophet of this people.
Alright, so jump back to Revelation.
With whom
Yeah, go ahead.
With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication.
Right, and believing her lies. Alright, the treacherous dealer had dealt treacherously. It's the way that Isaiah puts it. Alright, and it's a story me and my son Elijah just read 2 days ago with Tryphon and Jonathan. Alright, during the time of the Greeks, and the treacherous dealer dealing treacherously.
Yeah.
Alright, they are always been deal breakers, oath breakers, covenant breakers. Alright, think about all the treaties they signed with the so-called Native Americans, who the only ones who broke it first was the Seminoles, who they was never able to conquer. Imagine that. That is the only group of the so-called Native Americans, which we know is the tribe of Gad, that didn't let Edom break the treaty first. That knew they were going to break it, so the Seminoles, what we believe to be Reuben,
Yeah.
all right,
Hey, the excellency of his dignity, the might of his
exactly,
strength.
the
Yeah.
strength of the Lord,
Mhm.
all right, knew that they were liars. And so how do you deal with a liar? You lie. Just be careful. because the custom thereof.
But yeah, as far as what you had mentioned, as far as like the nations being drunk with the wine of her fornication, and the because you had just read the precept, or rather you had gotten the precept that is talking about how the wine here is the lies, right? And you were talking about how they would do deals with people in these nations who would screw over their own people, right? So that's the lies of her fornication. But of course, you're talking also about how they will always deal treacherously. So America does lies to the people that they get to lie for them.
Exactly.
So that's
they're lying to the ones they have lied to their people.
So that's going to get all these people, and this where we're at now.
Yes.
All the nations have turned against America because of these lies and the wine of her fornication.
Lied to by her and effed over by her, thrown under the bus by her.
Right. Because the prophecy, the Most High describes this country as the great whore.
Exactly.
What does a whore do? Always cheats on whoever she's with.
And lies. All right. And is always trying to get the new one to get rid of the old one.
Yep. Verse 3. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns.
All right, sitting upon a scarlet-colored beast. Here's your precept. Revelation chapter 12 and verse 3.
Revelation 12 and 3. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon.
What color?
Red dragon.
Right, red dragon. Scarlet is a pretty way to say red. All right.
Having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads.
Yes, exactly. All right, then we'll jump back to 3.
So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns.
Right, exactly what it said. All right. In Revelation 12 and 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so these 7 heads are 7 Edomite empires, starting with Greece and Rome, as we talked about. Then post-Renaissance, after the deadly wound was healed
exactly.
in Revelation 13, you also had Spain, and then France, Germany. Portugal was engulfed by Spain. Right. So Germany, the Dutch, because the Germans don't call themselves German. They call themselves Deutschland or Dutch, right? The land of the Dutch. So that Dutch Empire is the German Empire, and Russia, obviously, they got their thing going on. They had an empire in Eastern Europe and stuff, and Great Britain. So that would be all the European empires, the colonial empires at least, that came up out of that.
Right.
And the 10 horns would be what was known as the 10 common markets that came up out of that.
That is the money agreement.
Yes.
All right. The agreement, we're all going to go off of this fiat currency. The one that is rapidly falling away today.
Right, so that red dragon, the same as this red beast here in Revelation 17. Yeah. And verse 4, notice the whore is right on the back of this beast, right? So the whore comes after these beasts. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stone and pearls.
All right, letting you know that the purple is the regal or royal, and the scarlet is the allegiance to the red. All right, aka the blood. That's why another reason they're bloodthirsty people. They love to drink blood. They'll even bathe in it and everything else. All right.
Having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication.
Right. And filthiness of her fornication. Full of abomination, full of things the Lord hates, and all kinds of filthiness of her fornication. That is the policy that they want you to take and drink. Alright.
And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth.
Right. Alright. And the woman here, alright, the mother, it's always got to be in subjection to who? The man, the husband, the father. Alright. I'll read verse 6.
And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints.
Drunken with what?
The blood of the saints.
There you go. That's how they took the 2 lands. Alright? As God was there. America, Israel. Christianity, Judaism. Alright? Republican, Democrat. It's all about being the good side, quote unquote, and the bad side, quote unquote. Either way, they're both sides.
And with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus.
Right.
And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration.
Alright, she's drunken. Alright, she's off her rocker. She's lost her mind from all the blood she has drunken. From all the killing. That pride is what has built her and exalted her above all that is called God. Alright? Because what she's been allowed to do to his people.
John said when he seen it, he wondered, like,
The hell is it?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Right.
What's she doing? But also, we didn't even touch on like fornication. Spiritual fornication is idolatry, and
Going
covetousness is idolatry.
Serving any and everything but the Most High God and keeping His law.
Exactly. You want me to keep going?
Let's see.
I'll jump down.
Yeah, jump down. Let's see. And then we'll close it out. Alright, and
14?
Let's read 8, because it's going into 2 Thessalonians also.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll jump on down.
The beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they beheld the beast that was and is not and yet is.
Right. Alright, that's going into the Edomite empires. Alright, how they was ruling, how they got taken out, and now they're back ruling again.
Mm-hmm.
Alright? And all those wandering after her, following after her science, her fake religions, doing the policies that she is pushing, alright, destroy in the ways that they destroy since the yoke has been taken off. Alright?
Jumping down to verse 14?
Yeah.
Okay. These shall make war with the Lamb.
Oh, no, go to 12.
Verse 12.
Mm-hmm.
And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet.
Right. These are the people who decided to rule with her. Alright? As long as you say we get so much control, we'll go along with it. This is the go along to get along game. That's been ruling alongside America and fake Israel since 1948. Alright?
But received power as kings 1 hour with the beast.
Right. They actually had some power since the League of Nations turned into the United Nations, turned into we'll pretend you have a voice. Alright, which it took them a while for that to happen. I believe it was the end of the 80s or early 90s where they actually started doing votes and listening to other nations. And that's quickly ended as of recently. Where now America is speaking out against the ICC.
Yep. The International Criminal Court.
That they established.
Yep. Who have been biased this whole time towards America. And
exactly.
as soon as that bias just kind of goes a little bit like, hey, we can't let Israel kill babies.
Right.
We can't let the state of Israel just kill all these women and children that they're doing.
Right. And
now there's sanctions on it.
Exactly. And now they're saying, Trump just said yesterday, day before yesterday, these vile false accusations against BB while they were doing such great work for the world. That's literally what he's saying. And
oh wow.
Yeah, while they embarked on this campaign together, this court's all these vile accusations against him.
I mean, it's not too surprising because whenever
Right.
Iran didn't want to make the deal, he said, "What a vile waste of human life."
Exactly.
So like, it's as soon as you're one of the others to him, you're
Yep.
just, hey, you're nothing.
Right. And he is fully Edom,
Mhm.
for Edom, and to hell with anybody who ain't.
Right.
That's Donald Trump.
The
All right.
embodiment of Esau.
Exactly. He is their trump card. Hell. That's where that word comes
Yeah,
from.
quite literally.
Yes.
Verse 13. These have one mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast.
Right. Alright, the one that's ruled everywhere, told everybody what to do and say. Alright. And that beast is Edom, and their banking. All right, out of World War I and World War II, they established the banking of international settlements, or the Bank of International Settlements. That is it's a sovereign nation. It has no ruling body over it. No, and it has the legal ability to hide the money that it has. Did you know this?
No.
Yeah, and it was established to oversee the reparations for Germany after World War I.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but really it's been used as Edom's secret power base for the Federal Reserve and those in control of money. One that has no governance over it.
Where is it established?
It's in Switzerland.
Of
course it is.
Say Switzerland. Of course it's Switzerland.
Mm-hmm.
That's why everybody puts their money in Switzerland.
Exactly. Swiss bank account.
Yes. In verse 14, these shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them.
Right.
For he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful.
Right. They that are with him are called. When you're called, if you're chosen and faithful. All right. That's the ultimate, making your calling and election sure. There's your checklist right there. Have you heard the truth? Are you proving yourself to be one of those living and trying to teach the truth? And being faithful in the process, no matter how perilous times may seem. Alright.
And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues.
Right. Alright, so the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples, multitudes, nations, languages. They control everything about everybody. Straight up. Alright, 16.
And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire.
Right. Alright. This has been a slow progression. Started after COVID, when they realized what was going on and who was behind it all over the world. That's whenever they started enforcing things worldwide, planet-wide.
Yeah.
All right, and especially with their brethren in Europe since then, like I said, people are still, and Britain's still coming out, on the side of Israel, claiming things against Iran. I just seen some stuff earlier this morning on it, but that's not going to be the case.
But yeah, I mean, Britain and Iran, they had a storied history. It was their whole thing. The British Petroleum thing is the whole reason why Iran hates America, Israel, Edom in general.
Yes. Yeah, right up. Because their treacherous dealings with them back in the end of the early 1900s.
Yeah.
All right. And you read 17.
Yes. For God hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree, and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of God shall be fulfilled.
Right. Alright. And once again, it all goes back to Proverbs 21:1. Alright, why is the Lord allowing things to go this way? Or why is things going the way they go?
Proverbs 21:1.
Mm-hmm.
The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord, as the rivers of water. He turneth it whithersoever he will.
Right, because the Lord is ultimately in control of this. And it's to give every man according to his works. Yeah. Alright. With that, Israel, we'll close it out. And Lord's will, y'all see the dots that have been connected here, showing you Edom, how they've always been sons of perdition throughout all their empires, and that their pride always ends up getting the best of them in the end. That's exactly what's happening now, and Israel can't even see the way that they're operating is what's making the world turn against them through their own pride, arrogance, and ignorance.
Oh wow. Yeah, it's like a kid who just breaks everything. It's like, what I do?
Dude, Candace Owens said it best. She said it's like a mom who doesn't discipline her child, but is the first one to defend them when they do something terrible.
That's America.
Okay, and it's saying, okay, this is a mother whose child has now drunk, drove, and murdered 10 people.
Mm-hmm.
And now the mama's still not hearing nothing bad about her baby.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what America and Israel are right now. Who's a child never disciplined, now has done some of the most atrocious things, and is still being defended to the utmost. Even that mama's dropping bombs.
Yeah.
So,
even that mother got in her car and started
running
taking people out.
people over.
Oh man.
While she was chugging a fifth of vodka.
Yeah.
Drunken with the wine of our fornication.
That's right. Matthew 26.
Yeah.
Okay. Matthew 26 and verse 6. Now when Jesus was in Bethany in the house of Simon the leper, there came unto him a woman having an alabaster box of very precious ointment, and poured it on his head as he sat at meat. But when his disciples saw it, they had indignation, saying, to what purpose is this waste? For this ointment might have been sold for much and given to the poor. When Jesus understood it, he said unto them, Why trouble ye the woman? For she hath wrought a good work upon me. For ye have the poor always with you, but me ye have not always. For in that she hath poured this ointment on my body, she did it for my burial. Verily I say unto you, wheresoever this gospel shall be preached in the whole world, there shall also this that this woman hath done be told for a memorial of her.
Right. And all praises for that sister.
That's right.
That final anointing of Christ's body, for he made the ultimate sacrifice for us. And Lord's will, like I said, Israel, this is a good lesson, and y'all can take from it whatever the Lord intends. And with that, we say shalom, happy Sabbath, and let God be magnified.
Shalom, happy Sabbath, and let God be magnified.